In this video, I am going to go over question 4.1a of the Silver Quality Award. So if you are applying for a Silver Quality Award through the American Healthcare Association, this video hopefully will make this question 4.1a a little bit more palatable. If this is your first time seeing me and seeing a video by me, my name is Ralph Peterson, and I am a Quality Award consultant and examiner with the American Healthcare Association. And I help organizations apply for and win quality awards at all three levels, the bronze, the silver, and the gold, by helping you understand, breaking down every part of the criteria. And this week, I'm doing the 2025, we're in the Silver Quality Award packet here. Let me zoom forward, avert your eyes a minute. We're going all the way to section 4. Oh, we went past it. This week, I host a weekly mastermind group for centers that are applying for the Silver and the Gold Quality Award. And this week, we're going to be discussing sections 4.1 and 4.2 in this week's Silver Quality Award Mastermind Group. And so as a primer, I just wanted to get right into 4.1a. 4.1a is the question that I want to talk about right now. This question is the basic question. Every time you see the first question in any heading, it is the basic question. And then every other question under that is the overall. Kind of think of it as the car, and then everything inside the car is the overall, right? So it's kind of like this full package that we're getting. It's not just a car, it's a car that has navigation, and it's a car that has comfortable seats and heated seats and an air conditioner and a heater, all these things that are in part of the car, but the car is the basic thing. Just kind of a way of looking at it. So this is the basic question we're going to be breaking down. And I made a workbook for all of the quality awards so that we don't miss any questions. One of the most, if you look at this, if we go back here, if you look at this question, it's how do you measure, and you, by the way, is senior leaders, how do senior leaders measure organizational performance using data and information? That's question number 1. Question number 2, how do you review? Watch that little and. That and means there's more than one part. This is question number 2. How do you review organizational data? Question number 3, how do you analyze organizational data? And question number 4, how do you improve? So you see, in question 4.1a, there's actually 4 different questions. And that's why this workbook is so helpful, because we break it apart, break down each question to its finest parts, which is the best thing to do, because the number one reason why centers do not win a quality award, those who apply at the bronze, the silver, and the gold level, the answer is the same for all 3. The number one reason we don't advance, that we don't win, is because of an incomplete application. That either means you missed a question altogether, you answered one part and there was actually 4 parts, or the answer you provided wasn't sufficient enough to actually answer the question. So heed the warning. Make sure that you're answering every single part of the question. But let's get right into it. Let's break down this question. I don't want to use a red pen. I'll use a blue. The question is how. Every time we see the word how, always keep in mind what we're really asking you is what process. What process? And by process, we literally mean step by step. Meaning, when you think of a process, go like, we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. Like, breaking it down that way would really, really benefit the examiner, because we want to know exactly how you do this. What's your process? How do you measure, that's our first key word, measure organizational performance using, you don't have to ask how, well, by using data and information. So let's start here. To measure, really we're asking you about tracking. How do you track your information? How do you track your data over time? Are you using a spreadsheet? Is there EMR helping you figure this stuff out? Are you physically putting stuff in? Like, what is your process of measuring your organization's performance? I want to touch briefly on this idea of organizational performance. What does it mean, organizational performance? If you remember from the bronze application, question 1, P1A3 was I know this from memory, is how many applications I go through. P1A3 is that question at the bronze is, what are your key organizational performance measures? Are you tracking census? Are you tracking quality measures? Are you tracking turnover? Are you tracking profitability? Are you tracking number of deficiencies, number of complaints, resident satisfaction? Like, what are you tracking to measure your organization's performance measures? That question was in the bronze application was part of P1A3. It's no longer there. If you go to the org profile of the Silver Quality Award, which is your bronze application updated, that question no longer exists. In fact, do you know where that question is now? It's right here in 4.1. It's B. 4.1b. Now we're like, hey, by the way, what are your key performance measures? This is identical to the question in the org profile, which was in P1A3. P1A3, this is of the bronze, not the silver. The bronze application asks you for your key performance indicators. Now we're asking you for them here, but we're asking you daily. What are you tracking every day to make sure your organization is on par? And overall. So 2 parts of the question, but we're not doing 4.1b, we're doing 4.1a. I just want to show you that when we're talking about your organizational performance measures, you might want to know, wait a minute, what is he even talking about? I'm talking about census, QM, satisfaction, surveys, turnover, that kind of thing, those performance indicators. So when we're saying, like, how do you measure, we're meaning, how do you track? Like, do you use a spreadsheet, a piece of paper? What are you doing? And using data and information. A quick thing here is, I know a lot of people, me included, I struggled for a long time. Like, what the heck is the difference between data and information? And I had a master examiner named Bob, actually. He's the one who, when I was like, wait, what is the difference? And he just matter of factly goes, context. I was like, context. Oh yeah, okay. So the difference between data and information is context. Meaning, let's say that you're tracking falls data. So falls, and you're looking at your first quarter of the year. So let's say it's January, February, and March. That's your first quarter of the year. And you're looking at your falls data, and I'll do it as a percentage, which, by the way, when we look at a measure, when you're looking at your QAPI worksheet, when you're doing QAPI, one of the things in QAPI, and I've done a bunch of videos on QAPI. If you need any help, just look up QAPI on YouTube or on LinkedIn. I post them everywhere. But here, I'll show you. One of the first things about QAPI, I was already writing on it. This is my little QAPI worksheet. Once we have a result, so the result would be, the example I was giving is too many falls, so a high number of falls, which is, yes, a strategic challenge. If we don't fix it, it's going to be bad. So our objective would be to lower falls, right? It's always the opposite. And then our next question, logically, would be, what is the goal here? What is the goal? Now, we said our strategic objective is to reduce falls, and a lot of people go, well, that's the goal, to reduce falls. Nah. When we're asking you about the goal, we're asking you about the measure. And the measure is usually a percentage, or it's a number, or it's a dollar amount, right? So in this case, for falls, we would say a percentage. And we would want to go like we want to reduce falls by 10%. That would be the goal, right? Does that make sense? So that when I don't want to mucky it up, but when I see the word measure, I always think of the word goal. I'm always going, okay, so what's the measure by? And so for falls, let's say that I was tracking my falls data for 3 months, and I had 3%, and then I had 2.9%, and then I had 4%. 4%. That's data, right? But one data point by itself, if I were to, let me lasso this. If I were to just pull that away, and I was just to look here at falls that's a J for January. For January, I'm at 3%. That's data, right? Now, if I'm able to track data over the next few months, now I'm looking at not just January, but January, February, and March. What am I doing? I am putting my falls data in context. right? I'm giving it context. I'm like, can I trend? If I were to make a little, if I were to make a little bar graph here, my bar graph would look like this. That would be my bar graph. January, February, March, and it looks like my data, my falls data, is trending up. Now I can use my data as information because I just put it in context. And of course, what is this telling me? It's telling me that I got to go work on falls, right? Because my falls are going in the opposite direction. They're going up, not down, right? So that's what we're talking about by using data and information. What's the difference? It's context. So not only would you first, most organizations first, decide, way down here, what are you going to measure? Like, what's important for you? What's relevant for you to measure? So first, deciding what you're going to measure. And then what's the process you're going to use? How are you going to track this data in order so that you can use this data and information? Now, what are you going to use the data and information for? Well, it's to review and analyze. So now the next question is, what process do you use to review and analyze your performance using data and information? Now, when we're, as an examiner, I'm going to tell you what I am looking for. I am looking for who is looking. Who's doing it? Is it part of your QAPI team? Is it a senior leader? Is somebody assigned to it? Who? How often, when are they doing it, and how often are they doing it, right? So when you say, how do you review, what process do you use to review, just keep in mind, I'm looking for who's in charge of looking at it. And it might be different, right? Because maybe the clinical data is being looked at by a clinical QAPI team, and maybe your operational data is looked at an operational QAPI team if you divide your QAPI into different teams and segments, which I would, but whether you do or you don't, tell us who, when they review it. Is it daily, weekly, ongoing? Don't say ongoing, good Lord. It always has to be systematic. So ongoing could mean it's not going at all, right? So give me a day, a week, a month, a year, a quarter, something. Give me a timeline. That makes it systematic. Or it shows that your process is systematic, repeatable, and measurable. And I also want to know, so not only do I want to know who, how often, and when, but I also want to know your process for analyzing. And analyzing can take on a couple of different, there's a couple of things. I'll tell you, let me change my little color of pen here to red, so I'm going to add something here. If we look at my little graph here, my little falls graph here, my falls graph here shows how we are doing internally over the first quarter, the first 3 months of the year. We can see that our falls data has gone up slightly. Not a lot, but it's gone up, right? And that is how we are analyzing. We're using our own benchmark data. So we're tracking ourselves month over month, week over week, day over day, year over year. And that is one part of analyzing. However, what really is going to make the biggest impact for you in your business is not only would you, and this is a requirement, I'm be straight up and honest with you, it's a requirement for the quality award, not only would you track and trend your own internal data over time, but you would also want to see what your comparison is. And let's say this is your state or local comparison. So now, what you can see is not only are you trending up with your falls, but by this data I just drew here, you're also well above your competitors. Your state, the state average, you're above the state average for falls. That should be sending alarm bells, right? So when we're talking about analyzing is twofold. Number one, analyzing month over month your own internal data, but you also want to be analyzing it against your competitors. You want to go, okay, because maybe, let's be honest, I mean, oftentimes we could be, let's say this is the state average. I'm working with a home in Ohio. It literally looks just like this, where they're trending up by a point of a percentage with falls. but they're 6-8 points below the state average, right? Like that's context. That's analyzing some information that we could really, really use. Hopefully that makes sense. And then finally, the final part of the question is, how do you improve? Let me change back to blue. Improve your organizational data. Again, the process. What is your process? What is your step-by-step process? But this question here is really interesting because there are some parts of this application, in the bronze, the silver, and the gold application where there's intentional synergy, right? Like it's intentional that we should be able to see something that you say in the beginning of the application that you should be able to just keep touching on throughout the application. And this is one of those areas because if you go back to the organizational, let me bring up the application. If you go back to the organizational profile, which used to be the bronze application, this used to be, right? So this is the org profile, and this is what you have to update. So take your bronze application and update it. I made a video on that here, so make sure you look that up if you're interested in seeing the difference between the bronze and the silver application. But look at this. Here is the question. P2C1 says, what is your overall system for performance improvement? How do you solve a problem? You already answered this question. How do you improve? What does improve mean? It means solve a problem, right? It means to fix something. So now when you're going to answer the question, how do you improve organizational performance using data and information, what are you going to say? You're going to restate your step-by-step process that you've already explained in the org profile in P2C1. Synergy. You see that? Drawing that right across. One final thing. I know I wasn't going to talk about 4.1b in this video, but just one final thing. I want to give you one small little heads up that anything, a little trick here, anything that you list here, and as an examiner, we're looking for your key. Key means most important. And, a lot of people are like, how many do I need to put? The truth is, as an examiner, I'm looking for a pretty good list of examples, like a wide list, and maybe 5 to 7 is a pretty good number at the silver level. 5 to 7 key performance measures that you're using to track daily. Another handful, 3 to 5 of overall. But this is what I want to say. Let's say that you said we're tracking falls, we're tracking turnover, we're tracking satisfaction levels, we're tracking grievances. Everything, this is a little key here. Everything that you list here, we're going to expect to see a result in section 7. Could be 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, depends on the data, right? I mean, if you're going to give us a customer satisfaction, well, that's going to be 7.3. If you're going to give us clinical data, that's 7.1, right? Like, if you're going to give us financial data, that's 7.5, right? Like, so keep in mind, whatever you list here, we are going to put on something that we call the TOER. The TOER. I'm sure you must know what a TOER is. If you don't know what a TOER is, hit me up. I will explain what a TOER is, because as a person who applying for this quality award at the bronze, the silver, or the gold, you need to know what a TOER is. Well, you need to know the connection between a TOER and the application, because they're very, very important. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please shoot them to me. Leave me a comment. If you like this type of stuff, let me know that you're liking it and you're finding value. And if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. I'll make another video if you have a question about any part of the application. See you later. Thank you for watching. And if you got value from this video, please like, subscribe, follow, and share with your friends and colleagues. I would very much appreciate it. And of course, if you are interested in applying for a bronze, silver, or gold quality award through the American Healthcare Association, I would absolutely love to help you win.